Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of The Chrysalis Effect, where we are transforming mind, money, and manifestations. I am Monique White, your host, and here in The Chrysalis Effect, we take a 360 view to life and entrepreneurship. Today, I want to speak to you about something that people don't really acknowledge during the holiday season. As the title says, 'tis the season to be jolly. 'Tis the season to be jolly. But is it? Is it really? Well, for some, not so much. For some, the holiday season is a time of fake smiles and forced laughter. For some, the holidays have always been a challenge. There are those that are alone, that don't have family, or are estranged from family. There are those that are missing loved ones. There are those that struggle with depression or some other issue. And the holiday season tends to amplify all of that. And particularly this year, I wanted to talk about this because during this times, we have lost over 800,000 lives. Think about that. That is a very large number. We have lost over 800,000 lives during this pandemic. That is over 800,000 families, loved ones who are celebrating the holiday season minus one, and some families minus 2, 3, 4. Grief is real. Grief is real. And it's very individual. Everyone experiences it differently. So when everyone around you is all wrapped up in gathering and celebrating the holidays, that unit, that family, that individual somehow, sometimes gets lost. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes people lose sight that others are going through. And that's not to take away their celebration and their joy and their happiness. But sometimes there's an expectation that everyone feel the same way. And that's just a fallacy. So today I want to take some time and acknowledge that and acknowledge them. And to provide you with 3 tips and strategies that I employ during the holiday season. You know, grief, how everybody goes through it, it's different for each person. It's individual. Some take longer than others to get through the stages. Some stages take longer than others to get through. It's a process. It's a process. But how do I know? How did I come up with these 3 things? Well, I lost my sister to breast cancer in 2010 at 46 years old. A year later, in 2011, I lost my mother, who had been battling breast cancer and then complications from a heart transplant. And then in 2015, a week before Christmas, I lost my brother. And when I lost my brother, I just wanted Christmas to be over. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted nothing to do with it. Here I was having to be merry, so to speak, and put on Christmas for my family while at the same time planning a funeral. So my immediate family has dwindled down from 5 to 2, my father and I. So as you can imagine, Christmas these days looks vastly different. So I understand what it's like. And I want to share these 3 things with you with the prayer and the hope that it will help someone get through the holiday season. Not just this one, but ones to come. Being merry takes intention. It takes intention to be happy and merry during the holiday season when you're missing loved ones, when you're working through that grief process. And I don't want to limit it to human beings, because you can be grieving a loss of a job, a position, a home. Grief attaches to all of those things. So I don't want to limit it. But the process is still the same. These strategies will still work. So first, as I said, it takes intention. Acknowledge what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. There is a wound that is healing. So resist the inclination just to bury your feelings and bury what you're going through and just push through. Because by not dealing with it, you're allowing it to sit there and to grow. You're harboring it and it will fester. So acknowledge what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. Because trust me, I used to do that. I used to try to ignore it and avoid it. And for me, that showed up as work. But then, because I didn't deal with it, because if you don't deal with it, it will sneak up on you sometimes at inopportune moments. So be intentional and acknowledge what you're feeling. Allow yourself to feel it, because it is okay. Grief is a real thing. Your feelings are valid. However, be intentional about not staying there. Finding your joy this season will require intention, which leads me to number 2. When you are feeling low, when that sad thought starts to press in on you, replace it with a happy memory. Replace it with an inside joke. Something that only you and your loved one knew. For example, my sister and I, both being single, were frequently alone on Valentine's Day. So what we would do is we would send each other flowers or a card. We'd pick up the phone and say Happy Valentine's Day. We would make a point of celebrating each other on Valentine's Day. Here's another example. She and I had this quirky way of greeting each other. It came from a commercial. Other people would think it was crazy and that we were weird, but we thought it was funny. We cracked up every single time we said it. It was our little inside joke. So when I'm feeling low, or when I get a sad memory, I replace it with a happy memory or an inside joke. Second, practice gratefulness. Gratefulness for the time you had together, for the memories you created. Practice gratefulness for the privilege of being in each other's lives and having each other for the time that you did. Gratefulness for the lessons learned. For example, I am grateful for the traditions that my mother instilled in me. I'm grateful for learning how to do things that other children didn't learn. For example, I am grateful for each and every moment spent in the kitchen with her. That hot kitchen. I learned how to can fruits and vegetables. Now, at the time, I wasn't so grateful because that kitchen was hot and I wanted to be outside playing. But now that I'm older It's something that I can pass down to my daughter. And as I see my daughter in the kitchen, cooking, canning, creating, I see that legacy within her, right? Gratefulness. Remind yourself of at least 2 things that you are grateful for. Third, do something that they used to do in the holiday season. Do something that they used to do during the holiday season. For me, it's wrapping up all those little individual stocking stuffer gifts. You know what I'm talking about, those little things that you just stick in the stockings to fill it up. My sister used to do that, and it so used to annoy me. It annoyed me so badly because stocking stuffer gifts are small. What's the purpose of wrapping them up? What's the purpose except to be funny and annoying? So I do that each year. And just as I did, my kids look at me like, why? Just why? And it gives me a chuckle. Because that's what my sister used to do. And I used to feel the same daggone way. Do something that your loved one used to do during the holidays. And lastly, here's a bonus tip. Because I said 3. But I think this was important. Lastly, allow yourself some grace. Allow yourself some grace. Like I said before, grief is a process. You're not always going to feel on all the time. You're not always going to feel like being around others and being happy all the time. And guess what? That is okay. That is okay. You don't have to force things. If you don't feel like being around others, take your moment. Now, others might be listening to this saying, oh, no, you have to be around others and it's important to be around others. And that you shouldn't be alone. That's not necessarily true all the time. Because others aren't going through the process. Others can't understand. And I really hate that phrase, I understand what you're going through, because no, you really don't. You can empathize, but you don't have the knowledge. And well-meaning others can inflict damage unintentionally without even knowing it. Because, as I said, they can't understand it. Grief is personal. It's individual. And it shows up differently for different people. And the process itself, the length of it, is individual to the person. So allow yourself some grace. Allow yourself to feel, to process, to be alone when needed. Recognizing, though, when it is time to reach out and ask for support. We were not created to live this life alone. We were not created to go through tests and trials alone. We are one body. So be empowered to reach out to others when needed. Yet, be empowered to step back and take your moment when needed. Allow yourself some grace. It does not have to be fake smiles and forced laughter. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Even during times of grief, it is possible to experience moments of joy with intention. Acknowledge what you're feeling. For every sad thought, replace it with a happy memory or inside joke Practice gratefulness. What are you grateful for? Do something that your loved one used to do during the holiday season. And lastly, allow yourself some grace. 'Tis the season to be jolly. My prayer for you this holiday season, from my family to yours, may the peace, love, and joy of this season surround you. Be safe, be encouraged, and I will see you right back here next week in the brand new year. Same time, same place. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.